Hello, and welcome to my channel where we discuss the Power Platform. In today's episode, we're going to start having a look at how you could build your first model-driven application. I'm going to split this out into 3 videos, just so you have digestible amount of a digestible amount of content to have a look at. So, and I'm going to run through my kind of thought process, like how did I come up with this app? Whenever you're learning a new technology that you may not have used before, it's really important to try and come up with an idea, and that's going to really fuel your learning. So first of all, I wanted to put this screen up, which is like, well, why are we going to go for a model-driven application to begin with? So Canvas apps are highly customizable, so you can get really creative. You can put anything you want on a Canvas page. Model-drivens, they're great for like process-driven work. So something where you want a set number of processes to happen in a line, and you essentially want to control logic and rules and all sorts behind that. And quite often, Dataverse is obviously the back end, or not obviously, it is the back end for model-driven applications, so this might be a decision. And then you have portals, which are outward-facing websites. So depending on your use case, you may wish to choose one of these different applications. This is only a quick guide on which one you would choose. Of course, you'd take into account many different factors, including licensing as well. So all of these come with different licensing costs. I do have a set of videos on licensing, but bear in mind that licensing is always an updating piece. So what is Dataverse? So if anyone that's new, Dataverse is the data platform which stores the data. So it allows you to store and manage data, and you can have lots of security roles, and everything is kind of baked in to model-driven. So when I'm putting this content together, although I'm talking about how to build your first model-driven application, what really is the title is how to build your own Dataverse tables and structures and relationships, and then build your own Dataverse table. There are some standard tables that exist within Dataverse. So for example, contacts, you can actually just use the out-of-the-box contacts tables, and we may use some of those as well in this demo, but really I'm focusing on that custom table development within this. So what are the 3 parts going to be? The first part, we're going to have a look at how we plan our tables and relationships. We're going to go ahead and build these Dataverse entities. We're going to look at our Dataverse relationships. We're going to create the forms in part 2. We're going to configure the sitemap, so I'll show you what that means. And in part 3, we're going to have a look at building the business process flow and building business rules. So as I said, I want to walk you through how I approached building this table. So first I started thinking, I need an idea. And when I was quite young, if someone would ask me what I wanted to do, I would say I wanted to be a teacher, or I wanted to be an event planner, because it sounded like a lot of fun. So I thought, okay, well, if I was a party planner, which is a use case that I chose, what kind of data structures would I have? So first, I'm just putting this down on paper. So I got an Excel sheet out and I just started writing stuff. So I would need some venues, and this is a very simplified approach, of course. I would need some customers. I would need some salespeople that are going to be handling these customers. I would need vendors that I'm going out to, and I would need some kind of booking ID system, right? The next thing I started thinking about was, well, what are my relationships going to be? How am I going to relate these to each other? Well, a salesperson can link to many customers. A vendor can link to many booking IDs, because you could have multiple bookings that they're actually associated with. A venue could also be looked to multiple bookings, so there's maybe different days that they're being lended out to. And customers can also be related to many bookings as well. Maybe they have multiple bookings. So this is just starting to put this together. So I'll pause there. So coming over to Dataverse, the first thing I'm going to do to set up my model-driven application is I'm going to start with a new solution. So go model-driven party planner. I'm going to select the default publisher, and I'm going to create that. Okay, and that's just creating the solution in the background there. So I'm going to go ahead and create a couple of the tables here and show you the relationships. I am not going to create every single table, otherwise it'll be a bit of a boring video. So now I'll go into this model-driven party planner, and I've got the option to create a new table. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to call this venues and create that. Now in this table, I'm going to create some columns. So I go name of venue. We'll go for availability, capacity, which we'll put as a number. And availability, actually, let's make that into a choice column. So I don't want these ones, but we'll go for available, not available. We can go for closed, like just permanently closed. Go for that one. Now I'll create the county which it's in, and now I wanted a venue ID, so I'm actually going to use this name column, which is the primary name column, and I'm going to call it the venue ID and make it an auto number, so that will essentially create by itself. So I'm going to make it as optional just because when I'm using it in Flow and things, I want it to not force me to do anything. So I've got my one table there. Now what I'll do is classic Blue Peter style. I'm going to go into another solution where I've actually created a few more tables and show some of the relationship building aspect of things. So go into solutions. I've got this app here. So one of the tables I have within my environment is called booking, which is one of the tables that we need. And so you'll see the columns that we had on there, which is kind of the date, the links, etc. So actually, if I now go into the relationships, you'll see the different relationships that have been created in order to link this. So you see, for example, here I have a relationship from booking to customers, which is a one-to-many relationship. So just to show you how that's done, I essentially could go booking to, let's say, approval, just to show how it's done, and then pick that's the one and that's the many side, and that will now be set up, and I will now be able to access that information when I get into app building. So that was an overview. All we've done for now is we've created some tables and some relationships, and watch out for the next video in which we'll delve a little bit deeper and start actually creating the app. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.